All right, what's going on, everybody? A very happy Friday. Welcome. It is Pushing the Limits. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We got a lot to get to today. You could be listening, watching on the Occupy Democrats Network, the Washington Press Network, of course, my personal YouTube page, which is at PTL Radio Show. And, of course, the FMAM dial KSHP. We're on TikTok. We're on Twitch. We're everywhere. And my personal website is pushingthelimits.live. We appreciate all of you being here. We got a lot to get to today, including Donald Trump saying he might be able to end the war in Ukraine in 2 weeks. Yes, I don't know, it went from 24 hours to 3 months and now maybe another 2 weeks. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Trump making some very interesting statements this morning. And yes, I'm not making this up, ladies and gentlemen. The superintendent of schools in a district in Ohio is considering teaching students about election integrity and what he claims as all the improprieties, what happened in the 2020 elections. I'm not making that up, ladies and gentlemen. We will get to that in a little bit in the program. The beautiful and talented Nicole Mitchell will be joining us in hour number 2, giving us some of the positive stories of the week. But before we do that, there's a guy I've been watching, listening to, at least reading his tweets on social media. On social media, he is known as Agent Self FBI. The reason why he's not giving out his name on this show, well, I'll get to that, but he voted for Donald Trump back in 2016, and he voted for Joe Biden. And he's been a Republican his entire life. He's a financial crimes investigator and a forensic auditor. He currently lives in New York, and he wants to be anonymous, and we'll get into that because of doxing and otherwise. So I'm going to call him Agent Self FBI because that's what he calls himself on social media, and he has a pretty large following on social media. Mr. Agent Self FBI, how's it going, my friend?
It is going well. How are you?
I am doing good. Did I describe you to the best of my ability? Am I correct on that? Is there anything I'm missing?
Yeah, 100%. I'll make really clear. I do not work for the FBI. I've never been involved with the FBI in that capacity. The name Agent Self actually comes from a TV show I like called Prison Break.
Gotcha.
Don Self.
Gotcha.
So I just ran with that.
Gotcha. So you've been a Republican your entire life. You voted for Donald Trump in 2016. What changed for you? What changed?
Look at what's happening now. But honestly, so here's kind of a quick high-level overview. So back in 2015, he was running. I'm like, okay, cool. I wasn't really into politics. I was really focused on my career, life. Let's change it up. Let's see what happens. I was tired of the status quo, so I voted for Trump. And then I really started paying attention. I had in friends, and this is when I lived out in Utah. I had friends invite me to rallies, and we would go to these rallies, and they just progressively got worse. And then so after, during COVID, the BLM riots, the protests, and things of that nature, these people would go to counter protest BLM, and they would show up assault rifles, AR-15s, fully loaded. They would be in armor plate vests. They would wear masks to conceal their identity. There was a mixture of them that were cops. There was a mixture of them that were parole officers, rather. There was a mixture of them that were prison guards. And the hate and disgust that I saw in that group is really when I started paying attention. And then just the adoption of conspiracy theories that the left is somehow this elitist pedophile group that's trying to usher in communism, socialism, Marxism, whatever Fox News buzzwords you want to throw on that. And that really started pissing me off. And just to see them move towards an authoritarian, what I call regime, is really what changed my mind.
Gotcha.
I've been, you know what I mean? So I'll leave it there. If you have any questions, we can drill down. But that's really what changed me there.
Makes sense to me. And you've been a lifelong Republican, right? Is that fair to say?
That is correct.
Why do you think you have a pretty large following on social media. Why do you think that is?
I think it resonates with people. I had posted a kind of a story about my journey politically, and I think that resonated with a lot of people. I have a lot of Democrats who follow me. I think we're so used to populism and tribalism that it's really weird for them to see someone who is a Republican, who does have conservative values, not support the person in running that party. And my argument is MAGA is not a conservative movement. They're an authoritarian movement. They have broken away from the Republican Party that I know and wrapped themselves in a flag. They're cosplaying Republicans, essentially.
I agree with you there. Can you explain to some of my listeners here today why you didn't? I think I know the answer, but explain to them why you didn't want to go on video and why you don't want to give out your full name.
Partly with my career as a financial crimes investigator. I run a team of financial crimes investigators, and it's corporate, it's white collar crimes, it's auditing financial statements. There's money laundering involved that touches human trafficking, weapon smuggling, drug smuggling, and other financial crimes. That's one part of it. I serve as an expert witness in some cases in trials, and then the other cases, MAGA. I have been doxxed before. When I was living out in Utah a couple of years ago, I was doxxed, and people would show up at my house or harass me or try to go to my employer. So that's why.
I'm sorry to hear that. Nobody deserves that. I'm sorry to hear that. So since you are a financial crimes investigator and this is your expertise, I'm just curious to get your opinions on Qatar handing Donald Trump a $400 million plane and MAGA Republicans claiming there's nothing to see here. This is a gift to the government. What do you say to that?
From a money laundering perspective, that's it. It's quid pro quo. You don't get that kind of assets or money or whatever you want to call it without giving something up. It's beyond ridiculous. When you look at people who commit financial crimes, this is exactly the way they would try to do it. You have one that tries to do it covertly, and then you have people that do it overtly. That's out in the open, and they use that to describe as, well, it's not wrong. I'm doing it out in the open. I'm being transparent, so it's okay.
Yeah,
it's absolutely. It's a huge problem that the president of the United States, who he once criticized for harboring and funding 9/11 terrorists, is now taking a $400 million plane and propping it up as a gift. Yeah, and he takes it with him when he leaves office.
See, that's what I believe. I want to ask you about that, because there are some people that actually think that he's just going to hand over this $400 million jet to some sort of library or something for people to stare at. And I've been telling people that's not going to happen. He probably won't fly this plane as president, but as a gift to him, I think he's going to take the plane. I really, truly believe that. What explain that to people?
Well, yeah, of course. You're not going to take a civilian aircraft and retrofit it in 6 months to be a presidential fleet aircraft. That's billions of dollars. I won't go into all the systems that you would have to install, but it's not going to be ready. It's not saving us plane because we're waiting for Boeing to finish their product. It's a trophy for Trump. He's a narcissist. It's a trophy for him. It's going to his personal foundation library fund, not the one associated with NARA. It'll be his asset. It's his plane. It's a gift. It's a trophy. That's that.
So when somebody says this is not a gift to him, it's a gift to the government, what is your specific response to that?
I think that might be a good argument if the intent was to keep the plane in the presidential fleet and owned by the State Department for governmental use. Yeah, you might have an argument there, but absolutely not. Yeah, that's not what's happening.
I tend to agree with you. Do you believe what I believe in is that there was some market manipulation when Donald Trump put this pause on these tariffs? You have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene making boatloads of money. I believe insider trading. As someone who does this for a living, as you do you believe that this was market manipulation and Donald Trump told some of his close confidants?
Oh, absolutely. We deal in this insider trading crime all the time. And so it doesn't matter if it's in the tech industry or where it's at. Hey, we're going to make an announcement. It's going to either tank or it's going to blow up the stock market, dump or invest. I'm going to make the announcement later, say people will do that. They'll act on that. So this wasn't coincidence. Margaret Taylor Greene has never invested into I don't recall the company that she invested into right before, but the timing is perfect. The opportunity was there. The motive was there. It's 100% intentional.
Agree. If you're just joining us, he is known as Agent Self FBI on X. He is a financial crimes investigator, a lifelong Republican who voted for Donald Trump back in 2016, but like me, is the opposite on that end right now. Even though I didn't vote for Trump, I didn't vote for Hillary either in 2016. And he's joining us right now on the line. Can you explain to people, because I get this from MAGA Republicans all the time when they say, well, Donald Trump didn't accept his salary, a $400,000 a year salary, so he's out for the American people. Can you explain all the stuff that has been happening behind the scenes, or even the crypto scandal, and how much money Donald Trump has actually made from being president of the United States?
I don't even know where to start with that. Everything he's doing is a grift. Okay. So he recently went to in the Middle East, just coming back from that. He's claiming that is to do U.S. business, but at the same time, he's got real estate deals popping up. He's got the $5.5 billion golf resort going up in Qatar. I mean, Saudi Arabia has got allowing him to build a tower there. And so he's out there doing these relationships to profit himself. That's it. He even used his office, the Oval Office, to broker a deal between the PGA Tour and the Live Golf Tour to merge.
Yep.
I mean, he's doing this for himself.
Yeah.
And anybody who denies that is blind or just being ignorant.
Completely agree with you on that one. So, you know, you're a lifelong Republican, and if somebody had asked me 10 years ago what Republicans stood for, I think I'd have a pretty good idea of what they stand for. I think I still know what Democrats stand for. I think for the most part, and I'm being very general here, but they stand for equality, you know, women's rights, the ability for the women to do what they want with their own bodies, tax breaks for the rich, healthcare for all. I mean, Democrats, for the most part, believe in today what they still believed in 10 years ago. But if you ask me what Republicans believe in now, I don't even know. I would say banning books. I would say going after the trans community. I would say going after drag queen reading and not talking about the real issues that Americans actually care about, which is the economy and putting food on the table. I mean, as a Republican yourself, a lifelong Republican, what the hell do Republicans stand for today? Because I feel like it's been completely hijacked by Donald Trump.
It has been. And, you know, I'll say it like this, and I hope this makes sense. I think the Democratic Party and the Republican Party is like a Formula One race car. You have the engine and the progressive to go forward and to go fast. That's the Democratic Party. And then you have the braking system, which is the Republican Party. We want to make sure that we're being conservative fiscally. We want to make sure that we're not going too fast. We want to make sure that we're not expanding government overreach from that. So working together, they need to function to move the government forward for policy. But that's not the case anymore. I can't tell you what the Republican Party as we know today stands for because it has been hijacked. You know, they stand for strict immigration controls. I mean, everybody here who's a brown person is an enemy and it's an invasion, and they want to roll back progressive policies. They think America peaked in 1950. They're afraid of change. And it scares them. They're afraid of being left out, and they are being left out because they don't want to move forward with the rest of society.
What do you say to a fellow Republican who has different views than you that considers themselves an all-in MAGA Republican who would tell you that's not true? Donald Trump is America first. How do you respond to that?
This is something I get all the time. You know, and I kind of turn it back on them. What is their idea of America first? We can't isolate ourselves in the global scheme. I mean, we're global now. Isolating ourselves will cut us off from trade. Economically, it's going to be devastating to us. And, you know, when we think about the mixing pot of the world, you know, immigrants work here, they have jobs, they work in agriculture, they work in construction. How are we not putting America first by benefiting from the global trade and the global system of people? How does that hurt America? And I don't even know what America first means anymore from their perspective. To me, it's authoritarian and me first. And if people don't look or think like me, then they're the enemy.
Completely agree with you. How do you see this thing going over the next 3.5 years? I mean, I look at the first 3 months of Donald Trump's administration. By the way, some of the lowest poll numbers in American history when it comes to the first 100 days. And some people are celebrating the fact that, you know, stocks are coming back a little bit. But at the same time, when you see all the people in this country that have lost their jobs because of these tariffs, when you see people not getting due process, last I checked in the Constitution, and you being a lifelong Republican, I'm sure you talk about the Constitution a lot. It doesn't say that if you're undocumented, you don't get those same rights. It says any person. It doesn't say whether they're documented or undocumented. What do you make of the fact that there are literally people in this country, including 4-year-olds with cancer, that are legal citizens that are being deported? What do you make of that?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. First of all, you're exactly right. The 14th Amendment, Fifth Amendment is very clear. Due process applies to everybody here on U.S. soil, whether you're a citizen or not. The party that wants to cry rule of law and their constitutional patriots are violating it, and they're okay with it because it's against the people they don't like. But here's what I see happening. First, the political pendulum always swings. It's going to go right, it's going to go left, it's going to go further right, and it's going to go further left. And so it's myopic to think that MAGA is going to be in power forever. They're not going to be. It's going to be a dramatic shift in the next 4 to 8 years. And so all the presidents that they're sending now with ignoring court orders, violating people's due process because Trump thinks somebody's the enemy. Just imagine a far left extremist person gets elected in the office because that pendulum swings. It doesn't even have to be far left, but whoever the next left president is, they start, hey, I'm declaring a national emergency. We're confiscating everyone's AR-15s and banning the sale. I can do that because I think that it's a problem and it's an emergency, and I'm the president, and I don't care what the courts say. I'm going to ignore it, right? That's what's going to happen. There's going to be a come up. And when the next president starts issuing policy through executive order and changing the government and ignoring court orders, they're going to want that separation of powers. Mm-hmm. They're going to suddenly respect the separation of powers and want the judicial branch to step in and do something. They're setting that precedent right now. And everything that Trump is doing, every future president is going to be able to do. And if they think they're going to be in power forever, they're in for some super pain. To get to what will happen in the next 3 years, I personally believe that the Republicans are going to get cleaned out in the midterms.
Let's hope so.
And that'll be and that'll be telling what's going to happen in the next general.
As a financial crimes investigator, do you feel like there will be accountability for Donald Trump? Will he ever be punished for the crimes that he committed? Particularly, there's plenty of crimes that he hasn't been held accountable for, in my opinion, but particularly the 34 count felonies that he was found guilty of. Do you think there will ever be a time when he is out of office where he will be held accountable?
Oh yes, absolutely. I think Jack Smith and others are just waiting. Once he's out of office, absolutely. There's so much crime that he committed that is beyond the scope of official presidential duties. I absolutely think that. Whether or not he's going to be put in prison, I don't know. But I think there will definitely be accountability. I think it's going to be a massive storm that comes, to use MAGA's word. The storm is coming. But absolutely.
Let's hope so, my friend. Mr. Agent Self FBI, great follow on social media. Please check him out. And I'd love to have you back on again to get your perspective, my friend. I really do appreciate your time, and stay safe out there. And we will talk to you soon, my friend. Have a great weekend.
Hey, likewise. Thank you.
Appreciate that. There you go. He is Agent Self FBI on Twitter. He does not give his name out in fear of retribution and doxing from MAGA Republicans. He's a lifelong Republican who is a financial crimes investigator and forensic auditor. Pretty important job he has. And again, we're talking to a lifelong Republican who voted for Donald Trump in 2016. Sounds like a really smart guy. And he has seen the light, and he understands the threat that Donald Trump poses to this country. And we really do appreciate him for taking the time to join us. Really good guest. And we'd love to have him on again at some point down the road. So Donald Trump speaking again today. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. He was speaking again to the American people and to the media earlier today. Now, we remember Donald Trump campaigned on the war will be over in 24 hours. All I have to do is pick up the phone and call Vladdy. In fact, he said the war would be over before he set foot in office. Why hasn't he picked up the phone? Interesting. But he's saying today that he will solve all these issues in 2 weeks. That's right. Now he's putting a 2-week stamp on it. Have a listen to what he had to say about this earlier today.
We'll tell you that the world is a much safer place right now. And I think in 2 or 3 weeks, we could have it be a much, much safer place.
Yeah, there you go. Just like there's going to be a replacement for Obamacare. We'll see that one in 2 weeks. That was like 7 years ago. Just like the war is going to be over in Ukraine in 24 hours. I will find peace in the Middle East. His only response to that was he's going to take over Gaza and displace a few million Palestinians. So that's really nice, isn't it? It really is mesmerizing that people still believe any word that comes out of his mouth. It really is unbelievable. And here's Donald Trump. Remember when he said that all these other countries are kissing his ass? That's right. Donald Trump said that. He said all these other countries are literally kissing his ass and they all want to make deals when it comes to these tariffs. Well, now he's kind of echoing that again, even though we've had how many deals in the first, what? I don't know, month? But here's Donald Trump talking about the 150 countries that want to make a deal. Have a listen to this.
We just reached a fantastic trade deal, as you know, with the United Kingdom, which was wonderful. And we have another big one that we just reached with China. The China deal is a very big deal. It's in the process of continuing to be formed. But they wanted to make that deal very badly. And we have, at the same time, 150 countries that want to make a deal, but you're not able to see that many countries. So at a certain point over the next 2 to 3 weeks, I think Scott and Howard will be sending letters out, essentially telling people, it would be very fair, but we'll be telling people what they'll be paying to do business in the United States. So essentially be paying to be doing business in the United States. I guess you could say they could appeal it, but for the most part, I think we're going to be very fair. But it's not possible to meet the number of people that want to see us. And but this was coming to UAE was very important. Coming to Saudi Arabia and Qatar was very important to me because of personal relationships that I had, maybe more than anything else.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is. I'm sure it's personal relationships. I'm sure it had nothing to do with receiving a $400 million gift. I'm sure that had nothing to do with that. I'm sure it had nothing to do with his business dealings. Nothing to do with it. By the way, what a word salad. Can I get some Russian dressing with that word salad, please? Holy smokes. They talked about Joe Biden mumbling and bumbling. Listen to this buffoon when he speaks to the media and when he attempts to answer these questions. What a word salad that was. They're all kissing his ass, right? Yes, they're all kissing his ass. That's exactly what's going on. And then Donald Trump talking about how we've never seen anything happening right now like what's happening in the United States. Well, I actually agree with him. We've never seen a president of the United States pardon a bunch of January 6ers, some of whom beat police officers. We've never seen a president not giving people in this country due process that they deserve. We've never seen anybody deporting people that come to this country legally through a port of entry that are seeking asylum with no criminal record and getting deported because they have tattoos that say mom and dad. So I actually agree with Donald Trump, even though he might have had a different meaning for it. But he said, we've never seen anything like what's happening in this country right now. I sort of agree with him.
And I say, just build your plant inside the United States and you have no tariffs. And that's exactly what they're doing. And that's what many, many companies are doing, the auto companies, all of them. There's never been anything like what's happening right now to the United States, I can tell you. Nothing. There's never been anything like it. We're at a level that no country has seen, I don't believe. We have, every time I meet, I usually increase it by about $1 trillion because we get news of another investment. But we're probably in the 12 to $13 trillion range of investments. And
Yeah, we've never seen anything like this before. I completely agree. We've never seen a 34-count convicted felon as president of the United States. We've never seen someone as a liable abuser as president of the United States. We've never seen someone that has had over 25 women that have come forward that have accused the president of abuse. No, we've never seen anything like that, including his ex-wife in court documents, by the way. We've never seen a president with his, 4 hair transplants and 8 layers of orange makeup stand up and lie to the American people every single day. We've never seen a president of the United States defy our own Constitution. Yes, that's right, he is. By not giving people due process, he's ripping up parts of our Constitution. We've never seen a president defy the Supreme Court. Yes, that's right. The Supreme Court ruling 9-0 that Mr. Garcia needs to be facilitated back. Donald Trump needs to be the one to help facilitate Garcia back to the United States of America. We've never seen a president defy the Supreme Court, go after judges and members of their family. No, we've never seen a president sell Bibles with his name on it, made in China for $3, sold in the United States of America for $60. We've never seen a president be doing what the president of the United States is doing right now when it comes to a Ponzi scheme when it comes to what he's doing with his business dealings, particularly with the coins that he is selling. We've never seen this before. So I agree with Donald Trump, the mob boss. We've never seen anything like this before. Donald Trump, maybe he thought something differently than what I'm thinking, but he's right. We've never seen anything like what's happening right now in the United States of America. And I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I don't recognize the country that I have been living in my entire life. I don't recognize it. And the way they are covering things on Fox News is just as bad, or as I like to call it, Fox noise. Have you heard of this guy Walters in Ohio? He's a superintendent of schools at a district there in Ohio. And this is the same guy who demanded Trump Bibles be in every classroom. This is the same guy who wanted the 10 Commandments in every classroom as well. And now he's talking about 2020 election and election integrity. And he actually believes that this stuff should be taught in the school system as well. Have a listen to this.
Listen, Ryan, I think I speak for millions of Americans when I say there's absolutely nothing wrong with discussing the fact that there were peculiarities following the 2020 election. By the way, what happened to all those voters that voted in 2020 that somehow didn't vote in 2024?
That's a great question, Kevin.
Yeah, that's a great question. What a great question, you imbeciles. This is what we are up against, ladies and gentlemen. That guy, by the way, is the superintendent of schools in Ohio, in a district in Ohio. He's a superintendent. That's the guy who wanted to use taxpayer dollars to buy Trump Bibles. But you want to talk about drag queens and teachers indoctrinating our children? No, it's guys like that, like Walters, that is indoctrinating our kids. It's disgusting. It's disgusting what's going out there in Oklahoma. It's disgusting what's going on there in Washington, D.C., and it's disgusting what's going on in this country right now. We have MAGA Republicans all over the country, and I apologize. I made a mistake. It's not Ohio. It's Oklahoma. It is absolutely disgusting. Whether it's Oklahoma or Ohio, it's going on throughout the country. We have MAGA Republicans across the country that are curling themselves into a pretzel, making excuses for Donald Trump, making excuses for the fact that he has accepted a $400 million gift from Qatar, making excuses for the fact that Donald Trump is mingling with the same people that he called people who end other people's lives, okay, intentionally, including our own soldiers. This is the same guy who's mingling with those people, the same people who cut Jared Kushner a $2.1 billion check. But you guys still want to talk about Burisma, and you guys still want to talk about the fact that Hunter Biden is selling artwork, even after Joe Biden is out of office. Oh, yeah, by the way, Hunter Biden never worked in Joe Biden's administration. And you guys have the gall to talk about corruption? Donald Trump could commit felonies on the streets right now in D.C., and Pam Bondi would be making excuses for him. Yet if you key a Tesla, she wants you in jail for 20 years. This is the Trump administration, ladies and gentlemen. Is this what you voted for? I do not recognize the United States of America anymore. And I want to take some calls and talk a little bit more about this. So the number to call is 702-221-7283. Again, that number, if you want to be a part of the conversation. If you're a MAGA supporter, please call in. I want to know why you voted for this guy. I want to know if you're happy with the first several months Donald Trump has been president of the United States. Are you okay with people not getting due process? Are you okay with the fact that he ran on, I'm going to end the war in 24 hours, and now more than 3 months into it, he's saying, give me a couple more weeks? Are you okay with that? Are you happy with where the country is at right now? Are you okay with where the country is at right now? He will continue to give the biggest tax breaks for the top 1%. What has he done for you, middle America? I would love to know. I would love to know. 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you want to be a part of the conversation, now is the time to do so. Again, that number is 702-221-7283. Again, 702-221-SAVE is the number to call. This is one of the most interactive shows around. And we have about 250,000 listeners a day. Thanks to all of you guys, and I'm very appreciative to all of you throughout social media and, of course, on the radio as well. And we appreciate all you guys very, very much. If you're happy with what Donald Trump has done, I want to hear from you. If you think Donald Trump has been a great president, I want to hear from you. If you think I'm wrong and you don't think I'm being honest with all of you, I want to hear from you. Now, I understand that there are a lot of MAGA Republicans out there that can't defend their opinions or beliefs. But I always give you the opportunity to do that on this show. All right, one more time, that number, 702-221-7283. And for some people on social media that say that I have TDS, you have something called TFS. Go ahead and look that up because I described what that is on the Pierce Morgan show the other day. All right, let's go to Rocha. Is that right? Racha. Racha's next up on PTL. His first name is Joe, I guess. Hi, Joe. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hey, Brian.
Hey.
Okay, here's my piece. Hearing Trump taking bribes such as that jet from the Qatar makes me think that this is what Trump wants. He wants to continue to be taking money from criminals who might be involved with 9/11. And also, the reason why he doesn't want to let go of Abrego Garcia from El Salvador, because he just wants to continue to send money to the dictator of El Salvador, and that's what makes prison people rich. I mean, can you imagine if he reopens Alcatraz and if he's going to put children into Alcatraz who have autism?
Very, very true. Let's also keep in mind that a 4-year-old with cancer was deported, by the way, an American citizen. And when they were asked in the halls of Congress, and I should say in the chambers yesterday, when Kristi Noem was asked about that, she had no answer. So this is what we're going to see over the course of the next 3.5 years, okay? And Joe, I don't think it's going to get any better. I don't think it's getting any better.
I agree with that.
Yep.
I agree with that too. And speaking of Kristi Noem, have you heard that she was going to do a reality TV show of immigrants who might get the American dream if they win, and if they lose, they get deported with a gas card? I mean, but this is what Trump wants. He wants to see his version of the Running Man or the Long Walk or Hunger Games. I mean, this is what he wants.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is exactly what he wants. I think he also wants chaos, Joe, and I do appreciate your call. Thank you very much. Thank you for the phone call. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Jason. Jason is next up on PTL. Hey, Jason.
Hey, Brian. How we doing?
Hey, good. What's on your mind today?
I just wanted to remind how hypocritical these MAGA cowards are. Remember Donald Trump putting out that speech about Liz Cheney, how we should point the 9 barrels, shoot her in the face, but yet a guy puts out 4 numbers and they go wild. But yet Donald Trump says things. It's just mind-boggling, the hypocrisy in this crowd.
It is mind-boggling, the hypocrisy. And yes, by the way, I do remember the statements he made about Liz Cheney. And listen, here's what I'll say about Liz Cheney. Okay, while I disagree with the way she's voted her entire career for the most part, I will always have a level of respect for her, because she decided to put her political career aside and do what's best for the country. Now, obviously, it didn't really help Kamala Harris, but at the same time, I still respect her. And I'll even go as far as to talk about her father as well. They both voted for Kamala Harris, and they supported Harris. What does it say about the Bush family? All the despicable things that Donald Trump has said about Jeb Bush, about George Bush, about George Sr., right? The late George Bush Sr., and yet they didn't even have the wherewithal or the guts or the backbone to do what a Liz Cheney and a Dick Cheney did. And you know what? I'll even go as far as to say the former Vice President Mike Pence. Mike Pence didn't support Kamala Harris either. And if he did, he certainly didn't talk about it publicly. What does it say about Donald Trump, though? What does it say about Donald Trump when his own former vice president, I mean, is that a liberal? Is that somebody woke? Is Mike Pence woke? He's been a staunch Republican his entire life. Half of Donald Trump's administration the first go around did not support Donald Trump. What does that say about him?
Absolutely. And, it's just immature. A president putting out Bruce Springsteen today and Taylor Swift. I mean, this is childish, MAGA. Absolutely crazy, childish.
It is. And did you see Kid Rock's statements on Fox News yesterday? I didn't want to play
Absolutely.
it. I didn't want to play it because it's so
did you
despicable.
See Kid Rock's restaurant was closed down because of ICE raids? Have you read that story?
I heard that as well. And I would also say his little Beetlejuice girlfriend's restaurant was closed down a long time ago for giving her customers food poisoning. So, yeah, I'm with you.
Wow.
I'm with you, my friend. Hey, I appreciate the call, Jason. Thank you so much. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Paul. Paul is next up on PTL. What's going on, Paul?
Oh, hey, man. I cannot believe, and I know this guy's like stupid 8 levels down. Think about this. The president of the United States, who has our nuclear codes, is calling out one of the most famous musicians in Old Crusty Prune in front of millions of Americans. What in the hell are we doing as a country?
Yeah, and you know what? Their go-to is like Lee Greenwood and Kid Rock. And you want to talk trash about Bruce Springsteen, who's a Hall of Famer and an icon, one of the best musicians of all time. It's a joke. I mean, Kid Rock is going for ball with the ball. I mean, give me a break. How many great songs has Bruce Springsteen written in his time? But listen, they do the same thing with actors. They got Mel Gibson and James Woods on their side. I mean, give me a break. It's pathetic. But anybody who is anti-Donald Trump, he'll go after. This is who the president of the United States. He's a child. He's a petulant child.
Have you heard this story about Adriana Smith in Georgia? Did you talk about that?
Remind me.
There's this, and this is just awful. So Georgia had that trigger law go into effect when they overturned Roe versus Wade. This young lady is 30 years old, and she had clots in her brain, and she's now brain dead.
That's horrible.
And because her fetus still has a heartbeat, they've kept her on a ventilator for 90 damn days, or 60 days.
First
of all, and they're bringing in her son, and they think that her mom is sleeping. What kind of a screwed up pro-life country is that? That's awful.
That's a decision, and a personal decision that the family should make. And it's not a decision that some middle-aged, crusty white dude should make that happens to be a Republican. It is despicable. It is disgusting. Yeah. And some people might not like what I'm about to say, but if somebody wants to end their own life, that's a personal decision between them and their family and nobody else's. It shouldn't be anybody else's decision. And it's very sad. It's a very sad situation, and I wish that mother was in a better situation, and I'd hope that a miracle would happen. But at the same time, again, that's a decision that a family should make, not the government should make. And I get so angry when people try to make that argument. Yeah. Leave them alone and let them make their own decision. It's a personal decision.
But and I'll leave you with this. Here's the bigger thing. They're going to force her to be on this probably, who knows how many more months, right? And then they're going to be stuck with medical bills. They're going to go into debt. They're going to file bankruptcy. But here's the thing. They don't care if the kid has food, clean air, clean water. They don't care if it has health care. And they don't give a damn if it gets shot into school. But as long as they get to push their religion and force her to have birth like a Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're pro-life. Yeah,
Paul, they're not. That's why I don't use the term pro-life. I use the term anti-abortion. They are not pro-life. Why are they not pro-life? For some of those reasons that you mentioned. They're against basically any government program that can help a single mother raise a child. They're against food stamps. They're against welfare. They don't want to raise minimum wage. They don't want minorities and women to be getting the same pay that, for example, a white dude gets paid. They're against any government program to help a mother raise a child, but yet they call themselves pro-life. And by the way, this is why so many of these people are such nitwits. I mean, if you're going to have an abortion discussion with them, right now we have hundreds of thousands of kids that are waiting to be adopted. They don't have parents. That's still in this country, where half the states in this country, give or take, where abortion is still legal. Imagine if abortion is illegal across the country. Imagine how many kids are going to be waiting to be adopted. And usually the people that call themselves pro-life are ones that have not adopted any kids for themselves because they're the biggest hypocrites in the world.
Yep. All right, bud. I'll let you go.
All right, Paul. Thanks for the call, Paul. Good to hear from you. 702-221-7283. Again, that number, 702-221-SAVE, if you want to be a part of the program. Let's go to Simon. Simon is next up on PTL. What's going on, Simon?
Hey, did you catch the latest news about Walmart?
That they're going to be raising their prices on goods because of the tariffs, right, Simon?
Hey, are you tired of winning it, bro?
Amazing, isn't it? Amazing, isn't it, that, so many of people who voted for Donald Trump, I would imagine, shop at Walmart, and now the leader of Walmart, and by the way, many of the leaders of many of these companies have not spoken up like the leader of Walmart has, and he's already said, we appreciate the president with what he did with China, but he said, listen, it's not enough. And, the American consumer are the ones that are going to have to pay for it. And a lot of people that are shopping at Walmart because they want cheaper toilet paper. I personally use the Donald Trump toilet paper myself. That's just a personal thing. But, for those people that buy the essentials, could be toothpaste, could be toilet paper, and they go to Walmart because they like the cheaper prices. Well, guess what? They got a rude of awakening when they go there soon and they notice that their toilet paper isn't so cheap anymore.
Yeah, I agree with you about the Donald Trump toilet paper, too. I mean, as long as you can get past the off-putting orange color, it's soft as heck.
I agree with you. Very, very soft. Simon, it's good to hear from you, my friend, and I appreciate the phone call. You have a great rest of your weekend, okay?
You too.
All right, my friend, you take care. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Brian, just because I like the name. Brian's next on PTL. Hello, Brian. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
I haven't called in for a while. It's good to hear you.
Thanks, Brian. What's on your mind today?
All right, so I just want to clear something up.
Okay.
86 means, because this is going viral everywhere, this whole 86. 86 means to kick something out.
Okay.
Period.
Mhm.
To kick something out of a bar, your house, your
Right.
garbage.
It's a
can.
saying. You got
doesn't-
86.
There's nothing violent about it.
No. If you get,
Right.
I agree with you. I hear it all the time. A lot of people
Okay.
get 86 in casinos in Las Vegas. Doesn't mean it's a crime. It just means you're not allowed back.
And it doesn't mean they take you in the back and rough you up.
So are you saying that, help me out with this one, Brian, are you saying that there's a lot of right-wing MAGAs out there that are claiming the 86 means physical violence? Is that what you're saying?
Well, they're going after Comey about it, right?
Right.
Like,
right.
what is it? It's not even a problem.
Yeah, they
All
wanna
it
give-
means is to kick something out.
What did he take?
Basically, if
Yeah.
you kick someone out of, you would be impeaching somebody, right? Like,
Correct.
I mean, if you want to get really down to it, like, it doesn't even matter. It has nothing to do. You're just kicking them out of the house.
Now, I will say
like
this.
Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Well,
for
right.
instance.
She should be 86 and
get
sent to Russia.
86
Yeah.
from the house. Like,
Right.
right.
So I would tell you
mean,
my
it's not a big
dream,
deal.
my dream,
My
Brian.
proposal,
Go ahead.
my proposal is 5150.
hmm
47.
Yeah.
Because the man is crazy. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
That's all
Brian.
I had to say.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate you. Thank
That's
you.
it.
Thank you, Brian. So my dream is that Donald Trump is 86th from the United States of America. Have him go live with Vladimir Putin. Have him go live, I don't know, in Gaza with some of his friends there. I guess he has friends in Gaza. I don't know. That would be my dream. God, oh Lord Jesus Christ, we're going to say a prayer together. I'm not a very religious person, but I'm going to make an exception for this moment. God, I'm a pretty decent guy. I'm a strapping, red-headed, bald Jewish radio host. I take care of my family. I'm a good friend. I would like to think I am. I have one request. Well, I have several requests, but maybe I'll talk more about those requests into my personal life on Monday. That's not for today. In general, God Almighty, can you please do me a big favor on this beautiful Friday in Las Vegas? Can you please 86 Donald Trump from the United States of America and put him in a cave in Afghanistan? And if all the caves are taken, it's okay. I know he has some friends in Afghanistan. Can you please send him to Russia and have him go live with the oligarchy of Vladimir Putin and that regime? If that doesn't work, since he has such a loving relationship with Kim Jong-un, please send him to North Korea. I'm giving you plenty of options here, God. And if that doesn't work, for the last option, please send him to Gaza. So I'm praying to Jesus, my Lord and Savior. I'm a decent young man. Not that young, by the way, 45. Please 86 Donald Trump from the United States of America. That's my request, and we'll see if God fulfills my request. But I will not be going to church or synagogue this weekend. I will be going to the EDC festival. I will be going to see one of my favorite bands growing up, Eve 6, with a lovely lady, and watching some basketball. Sorry, God, I can't do it. And I will not be buying that Donald Trump Bible. Sorry, because I'm afraid I'll hold it upside down in front of a church that doesn't want me there. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Ray. Ray is next up on PTL. Hey, Ray, what's going on?
I got a couple of things. First, this morning I heard on the news that somebody was trying to smuggle a couple baby orangutans into the country. Seriously. And I looked at my wife and said, I didn't know Trump had a couple more children. I really going on vacation, have a good time. I wish the hell I could, but the COVID knocked me on my ass and I can't travel anymore.
Well, I can tell you, I'm not going on vacation for a few weeks. I'm having kind of a fun party type weekend, but I will be going to San Diego in a few weeks. And Paul, who just called in, who's awesome. Paul's going to be filling in for me for a couple days. So I do need a vacation very badly, though. I do.
Take one while you're young, and you can.
I'm not that young.
I'm double your age.
Well, God bless you, my friend. I'm glad. In your lifetime, we got to get Donald Trump out of office. All right, let's.
I hope the hell I live long enough for that.
Me too. Me too, because I'm not sure he's going to leave in 2028. Me too, my friend.
Well, we'll have to do something about it, and I don't want to say what we should do.
Well, I'll tell you what we should do on the air, my friend, and I do appreciate the phone call. We need a good 2026 midterms for the Democrats. We need to get MAGA Republicans out of office and make sure that Donald Trump or a MAGA Republican like him never get back into the White House. That's what we should do. We need to send him out of Washington, D.C., just like Melania left Washington, D.C. 702-221-7283, the number to call. We will get to the YouTube chat in a few moments here. And if you want, your questions or comments can be heard on there in the YouTube Super Chat. Let's go to Terry. Terry next up on PTL. What's up, Terry?
Hey, man. I wanted to kind of address a few MAGAs out there because I know they're trying to, you have a lot more watching your show than you ever imagined because they're scared.
Yeah.
They're really scared. They're afraid,
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And you're informing them. We are changing minds. Okay. As I speak,
Mm-hmm.
all I can say is, we got to keep it up, because it's a simple fact of right from wrong.
Sure.
Good versus evil.
Yep.
Okay. God versus the devil. Any way you want to put this is what's happening right now.
Yeah.
There is a dark cloud over this government right now that is affecting every family in America. Every family is disconnected from each other. Okay. We can't have this in our world. Okay. Now, people make all these, different things. They say all these different things about Biden and everything like that. But did you hear his speech on his way back from Qatar about Buttigieg up and down the trees and all the, did you hear any of that crap?
I did. And
they talk about Biden being incoherent.
Well, listen, we can go back to Donald Trump and the things he said just in the last 6 months. If you remember when he was running for president again, he said we needed ID to buy bread. This is the guy who said he defeated Barack Obama. He said Jeb Bush got us into the war in Iraq. So if they want to talk about those kinds of statements or, things that Joe Biden have said, they need to read and listen to some of the things that Donald Trump says, by the way, on a daily basis. The guy lies on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And, sooner or later, they have to open their eyes and wake up. Okay. Wake up from this dream that they're in.
It might be too late.
They really, I don't think it's completely too late, but I really feel like right now that we need an emergency election. That really happened in other countries. Okay, it's never happened here. In the first place, we need referendums in our elections, so we get a vote on issues rather than having one guy vote, dictate law to us or even our Congress and our thing. We, the people, have a say-so in this thing, We need to throw this electoral college out the window and have about a 4-party candidate system, but democracy will live forever, okay?
Absolutely, and we have to protect that, my friend, and I do appreciate your phone call. It's good to hear from you. Thank you so much, my friend. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you do want to be a part of the conversation. Now would be the time to do so. Nicole Mitchell is going to be joining us in hour number 2. I do want to get to the YouTube Super Chat. MJ, thank you for your donation. Fox Noise Network. Yes, I do consider Fox News the Fox Noise Network. You're absolutely 100% correct about that one. The Weirdo says, Brian, next time you're on a panel with Jack Posobiec, you need to wear a shirt with his tweet from 2022 when he said posted 8646. I might just do that. Unfortunately, they only tell me what guests I'm on the Piers Morgan show the morning of, so sometimes I don't have a lot of time to prepare for it, but I will certainly keep that in mind. Barefoot says, lived in Germany when the wall came down. Sick of Trump. Yes, we all are, my friend. We all are sick of Trump, so I am with you 150% on that one. Chris says Trump loyalists are taunting House members. When will Dems actually have oversight hearings? DOJ referrals to perjury, censor resolutions, transparency laws, fact-checking initiatives, or even impeachment. Will they step up? Well, that's a very good question you ask, Chris, and I guess time will tell on that one. We appreciate your support of the show, Chris. Thank you so much. All right, I promised we would get back to the phone lines, and we will do that. You won't find a show, certainly in the Valley, with more busy phone lines, but then again, we have about 250,000 listeners a day, and the Wayne Allen Roots of the world can't even take one phone call an hour. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Sandy. Sandy's next up on PTL. Hey, Sandy, what's going on?
Hi. I just keep waiting for Congress to come up with Plan B for the plane that he's obsessed with it. If he wants it that bad and he has so much money, he can just buy it himself for his personal use.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I believe personally that Donald Trump is going to be using that plane personally for himself when he leaves office. I don't think there's any chance that he will just give it up to some sort of library. I don't know how you feel about that, but I think it's a load of crap. That's what I think.
I totally agree, but he shouldn't even be able to have it during his presidency, according to the Constitution. So they should just tell him, it's a great plane, great deal, pay for it yourself.
Well, obviously, I agree with that, but sadly, there are too many MAGA Republicans in office today that have absolutely no backbone, and they're a bunch of cowards, and they're going to do and say anything that Donald Trump wants them to do and wants them to say. They're puppets for Donald Trump, just like Donald Trump is a puppet for Vladimir Putin. It goes both ways there. And both, by the way,
I agree.
Both, by the way, are very dangerous.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I had for today.
Well, thank you, my dear. I do appreciate your phone call. Thank you so much. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Frank. Frank is next up on PTL. Hey, Frank, what's going on?
Hello, Brian. How are you doing?
Good. What's on your mind today?
I can't understand when you go to your Senate meetings and you sit there and lie and fabricate, don't even answer the question, yes or no, when they ask you, but try to explain what their policy is. Why can't they say, look, it's explosive or whatever, That's getting so ridiculous.
Well, Frank, it is, Frank. And specifically, I'll even give you an example. If you saw, I don't know if you saw Kristi Noem when Swalwell was questioning her, and they show the doctored photo of the fist and the tattoos of Mr. Garcia, who is from Maryland, right? And in that fist, it's clearly a doctored photo, okay? And he's showing her the picture, which is clearly a doctored photo. It's photoshopped. And just asking her, is this a photoshopped photo? And she was asked like 3 or 4 times, and she won't answer the question. It's the same time when MAGA Republicans call into this show from time to time, and I have to ask them the same question 8 or 9 times. It's either they're ignorant and ill-informed, or they're liars and they just don't want to admit it. It's one or the other. Both are dangerous.
And you're right. You're right. This can so out of hand. You don't even know what to expect, what tomorrow is going to bring with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
You can't even fathom what he would ever think up again. And this is, when this is all said and done, you think all the Republicans that were backing him and doing all the grifts and that, when he's out of office, will they go to prison too? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I want to know the same thing, my friend, and I really do appreciate your call. Thank you so much. Number to call 702-221-7283. And just to kind of set the groundwork here of what we are talking about. So Donald Trump saying today he needs another 2 weeks to end the war in Ukraine. Whatever happened to the 24 hours that he said when he was on the campaign trail. He's saying 150 countries are dying to make a deal. Oh, really? How many deals were signed in the last month? I just figured I would throw that one out there. Trump is quoted as saying there's never anything been seen that's been happening in this country right now. Well, I tend to agree with him on that one, but for different reasons. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Pamela. Pamela is next up on PTL. Hi, Pamela.
Hi, Brian.
Hey.
I love your content.
Thank you.
I love your content. You are amazing. I'm a Democrat all my life, and I'm keeping the faith, and I just love that prayer. Actually, that's my prayer every day and every night. I just want to let you know that.
That's our right-wing evangelical prayer. They can't yell at us because we're praying, right? We're not atheists, so yeah.
Yes. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. Thank you.
Well, thank you, my friend. I really appreciate that. That's very sweet of you. We appreciate your support. Thank you so much. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the program. Let's go to Kevin. Kevin is next up on PTL. What's up, Kevin?
Sir, good day. I only discovered your show maybe about a month ago, around the time I did my taxes. So great show. I'm independent like you, so great content. Thank you for your views.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Quickly, I'll say two things. One, let's go to the Air Force One situation, or should I say debacle.
Yep.
Really and truly, a lot of folks don't know this, and I wish more people in the public, especially in the media, would pound this home for people to understand. There's more than one Air Force One. There's two of them. There's Air Force One. Let's just call it A and B. So while the president is riding on one, they could refurbish the other, and that's been done in the past. Also, for the vice president, they have 4 Air Force Twos. So, basically they have 6 airplanes, and any of the planes that the president goes on is considered Air Force One. So they have 5 options remaining when one is being repaired. So that whole thing with the Flying Palace is a moot point. That's just flat out. He's receiving a gift illegally, and there's no argument anybody could make knowing that there are 6 airplanes available for the president. Second thing is really quickly so other people can get a chance here. Let's go back to the immigration thing. That one comment that a lot of people like to talk about, or like to make, like to state, how a lot of the illegals, they're all rapists and blah, blah, blah. Well, 10 years ago, we had the whole Brock Allen Turner case. Do you remember about him, Brian?
Yes, I do.
All right. So for the listeners who may not, that's the swimmer. And go look up the California, the whole case, California, the people versus Turner.
Right.
He sexually assaulted, he raped an unconscious student behind a garbage can. So, behind a garbage dumpster. So, are we going to make the same case when it comes to American citizens? Are we going to say they're all rapists and so forth? Or all of a sudden we're going to play that stupid game? So, I'm going to hang up. I'm going to listen on to it for your comments, sir. And you please have a good day. Keep doing your show.
Well,
all
that
right?
means
All
a
the
lot.
best.
That means a lot to me, sir, and I really appreciate that. A lot to dissect there, and I'm going to try to speak in some general terms if I can. So first of all, we have to understand something, and I think you do, and I think most people do. Donald Trump has never respected the rule of law his entire life. And I'm talking about the days way before he ran for president, the thousands of civil lawsuits that he had to pay out because he didn't want black people living on his properties. We can go way back to civil lawsuits and discrimination and libel abuse and all these women that came forward, including his ex-wife, way before he ran for president. This man has used our court systems to go after people that he doesn't like. Because when you have money and the means to do so, you always threaten lawsuits and civil suits, but he's had to pay out more civil suits than probably anybody else that has ever run for office in our lifetime, that's for sure. So when you have somebody that doesn't respect the rule of law and somebody that's openly admitted that he's willing to rip up parts of the Constitution, which he has, and not give people due process, and break the law himself, which he's done multiple times already since he got into office in late January, then nothing is going to surprise me. I don't know if it surprises you. It doesn't surprise me. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Again, that number is 702-221-SAVE. This is par for the course for me, where you have MAGA Republicans that, are very tough behind their TikTok account or their YouTube account or Twitter or you name it, and they take their little orange fingers and they type a sentence, but yet they don't have the backbone to be able to call into a radio show, or in this case, a live show, and to be able to defend their opinions. I always give people the opportunity to do so. And then they say, well, why are you potting me down when you say something that is not factually accurate, when you interrupt, when you don't give me the opportunity to answer, or in some cases, when you misrepresent my opinions? Don't do that, and we could have a very civil conversation. 702-221-SAVE. And again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation is 702-221-7283. All right. Why don't we go to Bill? Bill is next up on PTL. Hey, Bill, what's going on?
Hello?
Yes, I'm looking for Bill.
Hey, Whitler.
Is this Bill?
Hey, Whitler.
Excuse me? What did I just hear that right? Hold on, don't hang up on him. This guy just called into this show and said, Heil. He hung up. Okay. Yeah, not a surprise. Thank you for calling in, Bill. You sound like a very intelligent person. Go vote and support for your Donald Trump. I'm sure he shares a lot of your values. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Mark. Mark is next up on PTL. Hey, Mark, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. Bill, go drop dead, will you? Do us a favor and make America better by flushing yourself down a effing toilet.
That's where he belongs. I agree.
Okay. Two real quick things, Brian. First thing is, let's congratulate Ron DeSantis and the people of Florida, because pretty soon you're going to have one or two teeth in your mouth, just like the people in Oklahoma and Kentucky and Mississippi, because he just banned fluoride in water.
Yeah, listen, one thing I will say that will maybe give us – hold on. One thing that I think will give us both a smile on our faces, it appears as though Ron DeSantis and his wife, it appears as though their entire political aspirations down the road are over. I mean, I will say that because of this scandal with the money they took and using it for her campaign to possibly be the next governor. So that makes me feel a little better.
Well, Brian, never count out a roach. They survive everything, even atomic weapons. They'll survive.
Yeah, that's true.
The other thing I want to bring up is Congress. They the Congress just threw what do you call it? Put their thumbs down on the great bill that Trump is trying to pass.
Mm-hmm.
That was defeated, and there are about 7 Republicans in the Senate who are stating we will never vote for Medicare cuts. Now, let's get this straight, Brian. These senators that are stating we don't want to vote for Medicare cuts, they don't give a crap about people on Medicare. What they care about is that too many of their constituents are on Medicare, and they don't want to lose their job.
Yeah.
It's not that they're standing up to Trump. They're standing up for themselves. They have no spine, and they're dirtbags, and don't fall for the trickery.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there as well, Mark, and I do appreciate your call. There is a lot of trickery going on, that's for sure. 702, not the trickery that Lauren Boebert's ex-husband did at a bowling alley, not that kind of trickery. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Donatella, who's next up on PTL. Hello, Donatella. Donatella, are you there? 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Eric. Eric is next up on PTL. Hey, Eric, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
How you doing, Brian?
Good.
I'm in Alaska, and I just wanted to tell you that as a person who lives in the midnight sun, I just don't understand how white people like to think that we're the superior race when we can't even spend more than 4 hours in the sun without burning.
Well, I will say this, though. Sarah Palin can see your house, sir, from where she lives.
Oh, well, she must be on a different part of Alaska because I sure as hell can't.
Yeah, that's true. Listen, to be fair and to be honest with you, the reason why Donald Trump won is because of white people.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm getting plenty of these spam calls from their little groups and whatnot calling to ask me questions about what do I think about Trump's terms.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the truth, my friend. And I want you to stay safe out there in Alaska. And I'll tell Sarah Palin that she's invited for dinner anytime. Okay, my friend? I appreciate you. Thank you. Let's go to Austin. Austin is next up on PTL. Hello, Austin. Austin, are you there? Did we lose Austin?
Hello?
Yeah, Austin, go right ahead.
Hitler.
Ah, very nice. Another very intelligent caller calling into this program on a Friday afternoon with nothing better to do than to praise someone who's responsible for ending the lives of 7 million people. Austin, you have a wonderful weekend. You sound like a very intelligent person. You see, Austin is the guy who's probably 18, 19, 20 years old, probably never voted in his life, and the highlight of his day. See, when I was like 18, 19 years, I was hanging out with my girlfriend, having fun. We'd be going to concerts, going to restaurants. But Austin's favorite part of his day is praising an evil dictator on the radio show to get 2 seconds of enjoyment. Kind of like the same 2 seconds of enjoyment Donald Trump got when he was hanging out with Stormy Daniels. 702-221-7283. Let's go to William. I think we are going to go to line 3 next. Okay, I'm told that Donatella is waiting on the line. Hi, Donatella.
Okay.
Hi, Donatella. Go right ahead. Hi.
Okay. I just have something really quickly.
Yep.
To tell you.
Sure.
I don't know why something is over. What's happening here, but I hear a lot of backseat.
All right. Well, Donatella, try calling back and maybe we'll get a better line. You sounded fine on my end. Sorry about that. Let's get back to the phone calls at 702-221-7283. Let's go to William. William is next on PTL. Hi, William.
Hey, Brian. How you doing today?
Hey, good. What's up, William?
Okay. First of all, I cannot understand why Trump wants a military parade for himself for his birthday, considering he was never in the armed services. When he was in Europe, in Normandy, in France, that he described those who lost their lives during World War II as a bunch of losers.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Suckers and losers. You're right about that.
Right. Well, I think my suggestion is that let Trump have his little parade, and as the Abrams tanks are passing the viewing stand, that they swing their turrets around and give him the 21-gun salute that he deserves.
Well, that's funny. You know, to answer your question, though, the reason why Donald Trump wants this done, it's pretty simple to me anyway. The reason why is simple because Donald Trump only wants to make it about himself. He wants a supreme leader parade. There's a reason why Donald Trump looks up to people like Kim Jong-un, who he wrote love letters to, and Vladimir Putin, who he refuses to call a dictator. It's because he looks up to these people. But this was way before Donald Trump became president of the United States, because I know people that went to Mar-a-Lago that even hung out with Donald Trump way before he entered political life. In every room that you go into, he's demanded that you give him a standing ovation. He wanted to be a dictator way back in the days, before he became president. So this is who Donald Trump is. He's the most insecure person on the planet, in my personal opinion. He wants everybody to kiss the ring. And unfortunately, it gets even worse when he's president of the United States.
That's correct. But I think he needs to grow a little mustache in the front. Fits better.
I don't know if Donald Trump can grow facial hair. I'll have to speak to somebody that knows him best on that. I don't know. I have a feeling Donald Trump grows hair in all the wrong places, but I could be wrong on that. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Dylan. Dylan is next up on PTL. Hello, Dylan. Is Dylan
Hello?
there? Yeah. Hi, Dylan. Go right ahead.
So about those people saying that stuff about Hitler, what do you think about Hitler?
Dylan, how old are you? Are you 14 or 15? And it's okay if you are. I'll still take your call, Dylan. But can you tell us where you go to? How old are you, Dylan?
16.
Okay, you're 16. So what do you know about him? What do you know about him? And don't make a joke because then the phone call's over. What do you know about him, Dylan? Would you hold on? So Dylan, are you supposed to be in school today?
No.
How come you're not in school today, Dylan?
I don't know.
Put your mother on the phone. Can you put your mom or dad on the phone? Because obviously you live with your parents. Can you put one of your? Who else is with you? Can you put one of your parents? There we go. There we go. I knew that one was coming, but I was hoping. I would assume one of his parents aren't around. If his parents are around, they're probably wearing MAGA hats. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Lewis. Lewis is next up on PTL. Let's go to Lewis next. Hi, Lewis.
Hey, what's up, Brian? How you doing?
Good. What's going on, man?
Brian, I have a suggestion for you. That I think it would be good on your show.
What's
that?
that?
A segment that you can do on your show. A segment on your show, and you should call it "Answer the Damn Question." And basically, get people on and make sure that they agree that when they come on, they're gonna answer the damn question. That they're not gonna filibuster. They're gonna come on and answer the damn question. I think you would get some pretty important people to come on because. It would give them credibility, just the fact that they're, that they'd be coming on your show. And you call it answer the damn question, and like that, I think you can get some good stuff, and stop without these people who are always filibustering. And then I also wanted to say one more thing. one thing I was listening to the Orange Buffoon speaking earlier, whatever, saying that the 150 deals. I'm just wondering, I mean, do the people realize, I mean, when are people going to start realizing, and I think we don't say it enough, that basically when he comes out and he says stuff like that, basically what he's basically saying to everybody out there, that, you know, or his people, think you're stupid. I think you are stupid as hell. I will insult your intelligence every single day, and, you know, you're just, they're too stupid to understand. He's insulting all of our intelligence. I mean, obviously, you know, we see past it, but nobody. I mean, what, you know? How can some of these people believe it? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either, my friend. By the way, I'm going to consider that answer the damn question. I actually like that idea. The problem is if I have MAGA Republicans, they won't be able to answer the question because I have to ask it 6, 7, 8, 9 times. And anybody who listens to this show loyally will tell you when I do get MAGA Republicans on, whether it be a Caroline Leavitt, who's done this show before, or a Vivek Ramaswamy or a Robert F. Kennedy Jr., they've all done this show before. They struggle to answer very basic questions when put in a corner and trying to defend the indefensible. 702-221-SAVE. Again, that number, 702-221-7283. Let's go to Ian. Ian is next up on PTL. Hello, Ian.
Hey, Brian. Sorry for swearing about a month ago.
I don't remember, my friend. I get a lot of calls every day, so I accept your apology. Go right ahead.
Great. So this might be a stretch, but I watch a lot of cable, Showtime, HBO, stupid movies I've seen for the last 30 years. So this is my theory, and it's a stretch, that G.I. Jane has been playing for the last month, and Escape from Alcatraz has been on, just started. What they do is they replay movies for about a month, and they pull them off. I think a lot of Trump's ideas come from movies that he watches.
Absolutely.
At night. So he sees Escape from Alcatraz. He thinks, oh, you know, that'd be a great place. He sees G.I. Jane, where at the end they go to Libya.
Yeah.
It's not really Libya. It's actually Malibu, where
So
they film everything.
Ian, here's why you're right.
Yeah.
Ian, here's why you're 100% correct. Guess what? The day after, when there was an Alcatraz documentary on PBS, by the way, he's defunded PBS, but he was in Florida, and on the local affiliate PBS in Florida, they showed a documentary about Alcatraz, and then the next morning, he started tweeting about Alcatraz. So you're 150% correct.
Yes. Yes, and and obviously, you know, when he was on, I don't know if it was what it was, he was talking about how he should be a movie maker. You see where we're going with this?
Yeah.
Like he's delusional. And I just want to say one thing real quick. You got a lot of callers probably. I'm on Facebook. That's how I watch you. A lot of your Facebook people are really nice that talk to me. And you have a great group of people on Facebook that are really awesome. So I want to put a shout out to them. I want to say have a good time at Eve 6 on Saturday. They're a great band.
Thank you.
I never listen. I grew up with Bruce Springsteen, but it's not my type of music, but he's a great musician. And the fact that Trump would try to say something bad about Bruce Springsteen is not only un-American, but it's ridiculous. So I want you to have a great weekend. And I appreciate you taking my call.
Of course, Ian, and thank you for calling in. I hope you have a great weekend as well, my friend. Thank you so much. 702-221-7283. I want to thank Roxy on the YouTube Super Chat who says, answer the damn question. Thanks, Roxy, for your support of the show. We appreciate you. 702-221-7283. Let's go to, I believe we have Gallagher, who's next up on PTL. Hello, Gallagher.
Hello, it's Cal Gallagher.
It's Cale Gallagher. Okay, so Gallagher,
Cale
Gallagher, pot him down for a moment because Gallagher's trying to be funny. I'm just letting my call screener know because the first 3 seconds of the call, I can see that, but that's okay. That's okay. So Gallagher, are you willing to have a serious conversation, or are you just calling in to embarrass yourself? Exactly. Have a nice day, Gallagher. That's what I thought. There's people sometimes that call into this show, and we're not going to take any more of their phone calls because, quite frankly, it's a waste of my time. 702. I try to give these people a chance. I mean, I try to. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Kim. Kim is next up on PTL. Hey, Kim, what's going on?
I just have a comment about. I just can't believe all the people that voted him in this time, being a convicted felon, however many times it is, 34, 36, which means he's not even allowed to own a firearm, but we give him the codes for all our nukes.
That's also true, but what does it say about this country and where we're at right now, particularly Donald Trump, when there's only two people that have the nuclear codes, and one of those people happens to be a guy by the name of Pete Hegseth. His mother warned us that he was an abuser. This is a guy who was a weekend anchor at Fox News with little to no experience at all, and yet he has the nuke codes. If that doesn't scare you, I don't know what does.
Oh, it doesn't surprise me in the least.
Yeah.
I didn't vote the first year that he ran because I thought, well, maybe maybe people know something I don't.
Not really.
Well,
I think it's.
Take me long to figure.
I think it's the other way around.
Didn't take me long to figure that out.
I think a lot of people who voted for Donald Trump don't know. I think that's the problem. They're very ill-informed people, and many of them don't know. I think that's the biggest issue, my dear. I do appreciate your call. It's good to hear from you. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Sarah. Sarah is next up on PTL. What's going on, Sarah?
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Brian.
That's
I just wanted to say that I've been afraid for this country for a long time. Ever since Trump started talking about his wall and building that between the country, is he keeping them out or is he keeping us in? Once he evicts all these other people, what's he going to do with the rest of it?
It's a really good question that you ask, and the best way I can answer it is as follows. I think if you're white, he wants to keep you here. I think if you're brown, he wants to 86 you from the country, for lack of a better term. That's what I've always felt about Donald Trump. It was never make America great again. It was make America white again. So that's the best way I can answer your question. About us not being able to leave the country, I don't think he's trying to do that. We can certainly leave the country, but it depends on what the color of your skin is, on whether he wants you back in the country.
All right, but once he gets rid of all of these brown people, who's going to be left to do the jobs that those brown people were doing? Then we're going to be the peasant class.
People that are
going to have the peasant class doing those jobs.
The real DEI hires, people like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., people like Kash Patel, people like Pete Hegseth, people, these are Tulsi Gabbard. The people that are going to be replaced are people that are unqualified for the job. They like to use the term DEI hire. Let me be very clear. 90% of Donald Trump's administration are DEI hires. And by that, I don't mean black people, because we know he only hired one black person, so we know that wouldn't be the case.
Oh, I totally disagree with everyone that he is appointed.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. This wasn't a mandate.
Yes.
He didn't get the popular vote in 2016. He didn't get the popular vote in 2020. And the majority of Americans that went to the voter booth also did not vote for him in 2024. I do appreciate your call, my dear. Thank you so much. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Why don't we go to Laura Lee? Laura Lee is next up on PTL. Hey, Laura Lee, what's going on?
Lorelei,
sorry about that.
I just wanted to rant. Earlier this week, you had an idiot on talking about how great his retirement account's doing and all of that. He's so full of it. I'm retired, and believe me, mine's not going nowhere.
Yeah.
It's in the toilet.
Yeah.
And, this Trump, he has hired the worst, most incompetent people. And like I said, I'm old. I know I've seen some incompetence. I'm just tired of this administration.
I think we all are, but I think it's worse than, listen, at the end of George W. Bush's administration, I was definitely tired of it, and he was a horrible president. But this is different. It's not even more of being tired of it. It's being scared, and for me, anyway, the dangers and the damage that he's doing to this country is beyond belief, and that's my biggest concern, and the fact that he might not leave. I don't put it past him, and I don't know. It's like, what's this guy going to do next? He think he's above the law. The Supreme Court gave him immunity. What is he going to do next?
He's going to cause crap.
A lot worse than that. Causing crap is one thing. But I think, giving people no due process in this country, deporting people that are brown without due process, defying our own Constitution and defying the Supreme Court and judges across the country is extremely dangerous to me, and it certainly should be dangerous to you as well. Let's go to Dave. Dave is next. Thank you for the call, my dear. Dave is next. Hey, Dave. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Good.
I forgot a couple weeks ago. Congrats on 100 grand followers.
I wish it was 100 grand. I wish it was 100 grand, but it is 100,000. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thank you. Go ahead.
Hey, trust me, if I had 100 grand, I'd split with you. How about that, buddy?
That's very fair. That's fair. Thank you.
Okay, two things. One, there was just some breaking news. Supreme Court rejects Trump's bid to resume quick deportations of Venezuela under the 18th century law. That just broke. But I was thinking of something. Just hear me out on this. You know, him going to all these different countries and everything else, do you think maybe this is also part of his exit strategy? Meaning, like, okay, he knows I mean, you're going to tell me he's that demented that he doesn't realize he's breaking the laws and everything?
He knows.
Maybe he just does.
He knows. He just doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Right, but there's still going to be repercussions. So I'm thinking, you know, he's building Trump Plaza here, Trump this, that.
Yeah.
Orange Buffoon water parks here, you know, in this country. So I'm wondering if it's not an exit strategy. Like he's going to do, like, you know, like how terrorists bounce money around like different countries in Swiss accounts. He's going to do the same thing.
Well, in this aspect, I will say that the exit strategy for him was to not go to jail and to win the presidency, and for somehow to get Elon Musk to be on his coattails and donate $300 to $400 million to his campaign. So I think the exit strategy for him was always, I get back into office, I will have immunity, and I'm not going to jail, and I can do whatever I want.
Good point. Also, just real quick, it sounds like it's going to be an awesome concert, but I'm not too far different in age from you.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just going to say, you know what would be an awesome, like, I would go to would be, like, even having, like, 311, 9-inch nails, like, every single one of those type of bands. Like,
I have some history for, and by the way, I do like 311. I think they're brilliant. I love their music. I do have some history for you. A good friend of mine, who I'm going to be seeing in a couple weeks out there in California, is a guy by the name of Richard Patrick. He's the lead singer of the band Filter. He is the original guitar player for 9 Inch Nails, and he's actually very close to Trent Reznor.
oh,
yeah,
man, you're a lucky man.
Richard's a good dude, and he's a good friend. Lucky sometimes. It depends what you mean by lucky. But
well, I'm not meaning like how some of these Trump supporters call and talking about your twin bed and, you know, their Trump arrangements.
I'm lucky that I get some of these people to call in and pleasure themselves to me every night. Actually, that would be very unlucky. That's very off-putting. But anyway, I appreciate the call. Let's go to another Dave. Let's go to David. David calling into PTL. Hey, David, what's going on?
Nothing much, Brian. Just getting ready for this weekend. I saw some headlines I kind of want to get your opinion on.
Okay.
So it looks like they're going to do some there's talks of cuts to Medicaid. And in the article I saw, there was a figure saying that I believe, I want to say like 25 or 27%, something like that, of Medicaid recipients that are able to work do not work. It was some like, I don't know if I'm describing it in the best way, but I guess my question is, like, where do you stand on it? Like, do you think we should throw more money into Medicaid? Do you think we should work to get the national deficit down? Where do you stand on that?
Well, first of all, I don't think health care should be something that we should have to beg for. I think this is where I agree with Bernie Sanders. We all deserve healthcare, and in virtually every other country in the world, they have it and we don't. That's completely unacceptable. That's number one. Number two, there's always going to be people that are going to take advantage of the system. That's never going to change. We could be talking about food stamps. We could be talking about welfare. There's always going to be a small percentage of people that are going to take advantage of it, but that doesn't mean we make all people suffer for it. So yeah, can we, if people are taking advantage of a system, and they don't want to work. I mean, we had a lot of situations during COVID where people were allowed to go back to work and they didn't go back to work because they kept getting paid to do so. Yes, there's always going to be people that are going to take advantage of it. But I guess my question to you, sir, is are you okay with the Republicans that some like Elon Musk's of the world and some even in Donald Trump's administration that think it's an entitlement? Do you think health benefits to this country, you think that we feel like should it be an entitlement, or should it just be something that every American deserves?
I think every American deserves it, but I also think we should incentivize people to work for it. Like you work. I mean, I don't know your benefits, but I would let's just for the sake of the argument, you work very hard.
Sure.
I would assume your job gives you health care, and I say the same thing for myself. And when I see these arguments, you know, there's people who do not do anything all day, and they're sitting, they're keyboard warriors. They do all this stuff and they're like, "Oh, I'm disabled or I'm this," and I'm not one to get into what people do.
Right, but you have to go through. You do have to go through a process though to get those types of benefits. You have to see a doctor. You have to show proof that you have a disability. Surely you wouldn't have a problem with that, right? If somebody has a disability where they're unable to work, if they're making, I don't know, I don't think it's a lot of money. I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's somewhere around $2,000 a month, maybe a little bit more than that. Do we really have a problem? With that?
I don't have a problem with it, and don't call me Shirley. But
I do like those airplane movies, by the way. The late, great Leslie Nielsen. Listen, here's my issue. And I don't know what side of the political spectrum you're on. And I guess to this conversation, it probably doesn't matter. So you don't even have to tell me. But look, I come from a very simple and, logical place, at least I would believe. I want the top 1% to be taxed fairly. I don't believe they are. They're not paying their fair share. I believe that every...
How would you define the fair share, though?
Well, I would say that if you're a household income making under $50,000 a year or $75,000 a year, the percentage of taxes that you are paying should not be higher than somebody who is a billionaire. And the argument I hear from MAGA Republicans are, well, they're paying most of the taxes. Well, yeah, but they're not paying a higher percentage. And what Kamala Harris wanted to do is she wanted to drop that tax break for families of household incomes of under $400,000 a year. And Donald Trump does not want to do that, and MAGA Republicans don't want to do that, and I have a serious problem with that. If you are a billionaire, you should be paying a higher percentage on your taxes than somebody who's making under $100,000 a year. It's the way I've always felt. And then it'll help the economy because the rich will be paying their fair share, but you'll also have people that are making under $100,000 a year that might be able to go to the movies a little bit more. They might be able to go out to eat a little bit more, and I just think that's better for everybody. And Donald Trump's tax policies are the opposite of that. That's what I mean by pay your fair share. The top 1% in this country own like 95% of all the wealth. I have a serious problem with that. And I'm not against capitalism, by the way. If a billion-dollar company is paying their employees minimum wage, then I'm probably not going to shop there. But at the same time, tax the rich their fair share. And when Republicans say, oh, well, those rich people, they're paying the brunt of the taxes in this country, they're not paying a higher percentage. I have a problem with that.
Yeah, but if it comes down to the bottom line, if the bottom line is they're paying a certain amount, then you want to change the percentage. That doesn't change. Yes, it changes the bottom line, but I don't know if I necessarily agree with your logic.
Okay, so hold on. Let me ask you.
I'm not trying to bootleg, bro.
No, that's okay. Let me ask you this question then.
Okay.
Somebody making $40,000 a year is paying 28% out of their taxes, right? Out of their paycheck. 28%, let's just say hypothetically. Would you be okay with that person paying 28, could be a teacher, 28%, and yet somebody like Jeff Bezos paying half that with all the tax loopholes and the CEOs? And make no mistake about it, Donald Trump gave CEOs of Fortune 500 companies and those who run large companies huge tax breaks his first go around. Are you okay with Jeff Bezos paying, and I'm just going to throw this out there, 15%, and the guy making 45,000 or a woman making 45,000 a year as a teacher paying 28%? Does that make sense? Are you okay with that?
I mean, if that's the tax code, I mean what's 28% of 40,000? Well,
okay, but you're conflating. Hold on. You're missing the point. Hold on.
15% of $2 billion.
My friend, you're missing my point. I get what you're saying. That's not my argument. My argument is they're paying more money. My argument is they're not paying a higher percentage. That's not fair. Why do you punish people for making less money and give people a gift or a tax break for making more money? That's not the way this country should be working. Everybody should be on an equal playing field. And that's not what's happening with the CEOs of these Fortune 500 companies. That's the argument I hear from the right. And you're making the argument for me. And this is just a disagreement I have with you. I don't agree that if you're a billionaire, you should be paying a lower percentage on taxes than a teacher. I think that's wrong. And that's Bernie Sanders' take. That's my take. And quite frankly, the right seems to think that the tax loopholes for the richest people in this country are totally fine. I disagree with that.
Would you put a number on the percentage increase? I know you said 15, but for the sake of the
argument, let's start with this. For the sake of the argument, let's start for this. If you're making $40,000 a year, you shouldn't be paying a higher percentage in taxes than a Jeff Bezos. Let's just start there. Then we can go further into the details. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care what company you own. You should not be paying a lower percentage on taxes than somebody making $40,000 a year or $100,000 a year or $50,000 a year. Why can't we just start there? It's a very basic premise that I have, and this is where I agree with Democrats. That's where we would start.
So I guess, I mean, I obviously see the premise and don't 100%
disagree
with you.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think that another factor you could look into is the public utility and the great utility that big companies provide.
Okay.
I mean, a company like Amazon makes it possible for a mom and pop to ship things across the country.
I hear you, but sir,
so people can have jobs.
I hear you, but think about for a second what you're saying. This is why I disagree with you. You're making the case as the government should tax people less based on what they think the services that they provide and how valuable it is. I understand your premise to an extent, but come on, that's not logical. We can't ask the government to say, we're going to tax you this because you're not providing as good of a service as this person. Who's to say that? Your opinion might be different than the government's opinion, okay?
Because if one teacher goes home, you get a substitute. If Amazon goes down, the economy crashes. That's why.
Okay, so first of all, I disagree with you that if Amazon goes down, the economy is trashed, because there's a lot of products you can buy on Amazon that you can buy at many other places. So I would respectfully disagree with your premise there. Number two, if the argument is you can't shut down this big company because, I buy my toilet paper there, or I buy my electronics there, so I hope the government doesn't tax them the same as somebody who makes $40,000 a year, I just respectfully disagree with you there. I think we need to start on a level playing field, and we know that Donald Trump will not do that.
I mean, another thing I think about when it comes to this taxes and the saying, a rising tide lifts all ships.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that a lowering, why does it hurt? Let's say the BBL, the big beautiful bill, as I call it. If it's lowering everyone's taxes, why are people saying that it's
because he hasn't lowered everyone's taxes. In fact, it's been the opposite. I'm sorry. With respect to you. Okay, so hold on. Let's backtrack a little bit, okay? Because you seem like a nice guy, and if you're a Trump supporter, I'm not going to be mad at you. I might disagree with you. Is it fair to say that you voted for Donald Trump? And there's a reason why I'm asking, not to attack you, but there's a reason why I'm asking. Is that fair? You didn't vote for Kamala Harris. Is that fair?
I, like you, am a registered independent.
Okay, fair enough. But
I voted.
Yeah, go ahead.
I voted for Harris.
Okay, fair enough. I appreciate your honesty. Why did you vote for Harris, if you don't mind me asking?
I just think maybe she's a lot less abrasive.
Well, that's obvious. Well, that's obvious. You're right about that. But Kamala Harris wanted, I believe, and I forgot the percentage, but she wanted to lower the tax break for Americans in household incomes under $400,000 a year. So you were in favor of that, right?
I would say. I mean, I don't know her plan. I mean, that's.
You don't know her tax plan? We're talking about.
I didn't know her.
Okay, I'm surprised because we're talking about taxes. And listen, there's people in the chat. There's people in the chat that don't think you're telling the truth. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, but I'm surprised that you don't know her tax plan, and you seem very passionate, which is fine, about taxes, and you voted for her and you didn't know her tax plan.
I don't like paying a lot of taxes. I think everyone in the chat can agree with that too. I don't like paying taxes. I think there needs to be less taxes overall. I think everyone can agree with that.
So then why are we not in total agreement on, an equal playing field when it comes to taxes then? Why are you giving a pass to the biggest companies in America who make billions and billions and billions of dollars, and you don't think they should be paying just as much, if not a higher percentage on taxes than a teacher in this country?
I think you're just mixed up as far as the percentages.
I'm not mixed up. Look it up. Okay, so here's what I want you to do.
I'm more focused on bottom line. Okay. I worry about bottom line.
And I'm worried about I'm worried about people that are struggling in this country, living paycheck to paycheck, and they're not getting the tax loopholes that Donald Trump is giving the Fortune 500 companies. Here's what I would like you to do. I would like you to.
What are they providing?
Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they provide. Your opinion on what they provide. No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
That's subjective. What part of that? That's subjective. Now you seem to
You're
think
providing a service. You're providing a service. You get paid.
and you don't think a
based on the
teacher
service or good you
and you
provide.
don't think a teacher provides a service?
I think they do.
You don't think
but
a
I
postal
that Amazon
you don't
provides a lot more.
you don't think a postal worker provides a service? You don't think that teachers provide services? You don't think that Uber drivers provide services? You don't think that custodians provide services? But you want to
never said that at all.
Okay,
Don't
well,
put words in my mouth.
okay, well, you're making the case that Jeff Bezos and Amazon provide a stronger service to the American people than a teacher or an ambulance driver or a police officer. So in that case, let's give him the tax breaks and not a firefighter or a teacher. That's what you're saying, sir.
That's not exactly what I'm saying. What I am saying is that a large company provides jobs for thousands and thousands of people, and that while it might not always be the case, admittedly, I think if there's tax savings, it
Okay,
can go
listen
get
to what you're
reinvested back
saying.
into the company. and
Okay,
back
so
into the
listen,
employees.
let's go with that. Listen to what you're saying. I'm not talking about Jeff Bezos. You just brought up now some of his employees. Let's talk about Walmart, for example, one of the biggest companies on the planet. Sometimes Walmart pays their employees minimum wage. So when you're saying they employ a lot of people, what good is it with a company that makes billions and billions of dollars, that gets the tax loopholes, which sounds like you support, but then they pay, as you would say, thousands of their employees and they pay them crap for a salary? Are you okay with that?
If the employees are agreeing to that contract, then that's what they're doing. Like I wouldn't work there personally. I don't think you would work there personally, because I think we've worked hard enough to where our qualifications can get us a better job. But if you're right out of high school making minimum wage, or if you don't have any skills and you're making minimum wage, then I think you're really not in a position to be like, well, how come Sam Walton is able to get all this money? It's
You're
like,
making the
because his name-
case. You're making the
because his
case.
names on the building. Because if there's something that happens, let's say people get sick from a product, Walmart gets sued, not Joe on the cashier.
Okay, but
on the cash register.
I understand that, okay? But you are making the case right now on this show that you're okay if they pay their employees $8 or $9 an hour and they're making billions, but because in your opinion they're selling goods that provide this amazing service, as if as if Walmart selling mops and juice and water and electronics is such an important service because you can't get it anywhere else, that we don't want to give them tax breaks. But tax breaks to the rich are fine, but we don't want to give those same tax breaks to middle America and teachers and people that, in my opinion, provide far more valuable service than some online company where you can buy electronics and other things. I disagree with you, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that there's more value to the greater good, and more
for tax breaks to the top 1%. There's value to the greater good of giving the biggest tax breaks to the 1%, while how does the 1%? Let's say the 1% does. I'll play devil's advocate. Let's say the 1% does get the tax break. How does that? And everyone gets a tax break. Let's say that's the plan. That's the premise. If everyone gets a tax break, including the 1%. I'm not saying everybody get a tax break. I'm not saying everybody get a tax break. What I am saying is the biggest companies and the Fortune 500 companies and the CEOs pay the same percentage, if not more, than somebody making $40,000 a year. It's a very fair premise, but here's what I would like you to do, because quite frankly,
I think it is a fair premise. I don't disagree with it.
Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Here, do me this favor.
Okay.
Look up the tax breaks and the percentage that a Jeff Bezos pays for Amazon, and then look up the percentage under Donald Trump that a teacher pays. And I would like you to call back Monday, and I would like to continue the conversation. Is that fair?
I will do that if
Okay,
you could
good.
look up the hard line numbers for it.
Okay, I will as well, but I would just like you to do that so you don't think I'm a liar. That's all, and I appreciate your call, sir. Thank you very much.
I'll look it up. Let's put a wager on it.
Let's put a
We'll come back and talk about it.
Let's put a wager on it. You want to bet me on the air? I don't even know who you are. Let's take it to Monday. Call me on Monday, and then we'll continue the conversations. All right. And I appreciate your call. And guess what? If I lose the bet, I won't tax you on it. You probably would want to tax me. If I win the bet, you might tax me on the money that you owe me. I don't want to pay a higher percentage than you. Thank you for the call, my friend. Chicago Rob on the YouTube Super Chat says, The poor and middle class drive the economy. I mean, what Chicago? I hear what you're saying, but and I agree with you, and that's why I want tax breaks for those that are struggling, that are living paycheck to paycheck. I agree with you, Chicago. Thank you very much. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Teresa. Teresa's next up on PTL. Hi, Teresa.
Hi, love your show.
Thank you.
I have a comment. I want to know how the Americans are feeling with Trump doing all this stuff he's doing in the Middle East. I may be over, how would I say, maybe panicky, because when the Bushes were in office, they did a lot of oil deals in the Middle East, and they retaliated. Really, that was a part of the reason. I mean, is this going to happen again? Because if Trump steps on their toes, and these are the Saudis and Qatar, they will not hesitate to retaliate against America like they did on 9/11. So, I mean, does that not give anybody any pause?
It should. It should give a lot of people cause. I agree with you. But at the same time, you have a lot of people in this country, my dear, who vote against their own self-interests. Just like that last caller. I don't know how much money he makes. I will assume he's not in the top 1%. He might be. If he's not in the 1%, he's not going to be paying less for taxes under Donald Trump than he did under Joe Biden, and certainly not if Kamala Harris was elected. Now, listen, he says he voted for Kamala Harris. It certainly didn't sound like he did, but I'll listen, I'm not going to call him a liar if I don't know for sure. I'll take him at his word. But listen, it's a good question that you ask, and the best way I can answer it is people vote against their own self-interest. Let's go to Mark. Mark is next up on PTL. Hey, Mark, what's going on, man?
Hey, I just wanted to report to you. You were talking about the taxes with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
You give a guy who's making $40,000 a year, $1,000. You give a guy who's making $400,000. That right there gives you an idea of the guy that's making $40,000. That makes a big impact in his life because he's paying such a higher percentage on his cost of living.
Correct.
And then also I wanted to state too, as a veteran in this parade, I would really like it if people would show up and basically stand in front of and basically make it difficult for that parade to be able to come down through the way. If you guys remember when Westboro Baptist Church used to go to people's funerals and protests,
yeah,
it would be interesting if we could get some of those angels to show up and with those wing sheets,
yeah,
and block it.
Yeah.
Block it with American flags.
I understand what you're saying. I just don't like the idea of doing anything political around a funeral, but I do understand what you're saying. I'll put it to you this way. Yeah, I know the parade where Donald Trump is also celebrating his birthday is despicable. And I heard a tremendous large figure when it comes to what it's going to cost the taxpayers, and he's making it about himself. But I also understand what you're saying, my friend, and I do appreciate your call. Thank you, Chris, for your YouTube super chat. Says putting the tax burden on the middle class and the poor is just another form of wage slavery. How do you feel about a flat tax rate for everyone? Yeah, Chris, I'm for a flat tax for everyone. I've been saying that for decades. I don't care whether you're making $10 an hour or $1 million an hour, okay? A flat tax for everyone, and if you want to become rich, then become rich. But there's no excuse for a lower tax bracket for people that are making billions of dollars a year. Let's go to Taylor. Taylor is next on PTL. Hi, Taylor.
Hey, Brian. How are you today?
Hey, good.
Good. Hey, two things. First of all, regarding the tax guy, it's interesting because actually Walmart is the largest recipient of welfare benefits because they pay their workers so poorly.
Correct.
That they are the largest. Their workers receive the largest amount of SNAP, WIC, any type of welfare because they don't pay them a living wage. So it's like they're getting the tax breaks without, if they paid their employees a livable wage, then yes, they would have less profits, but then we wouldn't have to subsidize it with the SNAP and welfare benefits. So that's number one. Number two, as despicable as the plane is, don't forget that Stephen Miller is talking about suspending habeas corpus,
right?
Which is straight up. I mean, the plane's despicable, but frankly, the suspending, going beyond due process and basically instituting martial law is it's a pretty significant.
Well, Stephen Miller's an extreme. I'll say this: I'm in favor of 100% tax for Stephen Miller and the money he's making off the government. So 100%. That's the tax code. How do MAGA supporters feel about that? Anybody that works for Donald Trump, you're going to get 100% tax taken out of your paycheck. What do you think about that? Or maybe 99.9%. Leave them enough money so they can use their ID to buy bread at a supermarket.
Right. Go back to cheese line.
Exactly. Exactly. Thanks for the call, my friend. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. So we're going to get back to the phone calls here in just a little bit, but I can't see, I can't even speak. It's been a long week, ladies and gentlemen. I can't let this lady wait any longer. Of course not. Of course, you've seen her on the Jimmy Kimmel Show 5 times. She even did Dr. Phil. She's a former pastor turned life coach. And we always appreciate, it's always nice to see the beautiful and talented Nicole Mitchell joining us, as she always does on a Friday, with some positive news of the week. Nicole, it is good to see you as always. How are you?
I am so good. I'm getting ready to go out of town this weekend, so I'm super excited.
I don't want people to dox you, but can you share with us?
Yes, I'm going to Cabo.
Oh my God.
I know. It's going to be perfect weather by the ocean. I told my partner, just leave me there. Just leave me there, and I'll come back a few months later.
Can I just find me an OnlyFans model listen, I don't know, is Donald Trump an OnlyFans model? I don't know. I don't think so, but you never know. Find me an OnlyFans model that looks like you, and then I'll go out there. Anyway.
Perfect.
So I'm going to do things a little differently this week. I'm going to let you take over here. So yeah, I know you like that. So Nicole, give me some, give me some, did I say that on the air? Give me some positive stories. I always love going to you for some positive stories on a Friday. Give me some of the positive stories that you've seen this week.
You know what's so crazy? So I'm half Asian. For those who don't know, I'm half Korean.
I didn't know that.
What, Brian? Seriously?
I did not know that.
Maybe that's why we're so connected.
That's funny. That's funny.
Okay, so I'm half Asian. So I love anything Asian related, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I read this article yesterday where they found the first ever Chinese typewriter from 1940. So this is when we're talking 80,000 characters. How on earth do you create a keyboard or a typewriter to communicate in the language? And I read this whole article about the geniusness of this typewriter for that time. But the person who designed it and invented it ran out of money and auctioned it off, and it ended up in some assistant's basement for all these years. Wow. And now that assistant's kids or grandkids just found it in the basement, had no idea what it was. And it's this major historical artifact showing kind of the evolution of Chinese characters becoming mainstream to where now everyone can have Chinese characters on their cell phone or on your computer, on your keyboard. So just kind of cool how these historical artifacts can just show up in your basement someday. So that makes me want to ask you, Brian, do you feel like you might someday find some historical artifact in your parents' house, in your grandparents' house? Do you feel like do you ever have a hope that you'll find something super old and amazing that will also make you rich overnight?
Hypothetically speaking, if my parents bought a house that was once owned by a MAGA supporter, maybe they would find a Trump blow-up doll in the basement. I don't know. But as far as things that are worth a lot of money in a basement, I have thought about that from time to time. Maybe just give me some cash. Maybe if I ever buy a house that was owned by like a mobster back in the day in Las Vegas, and I just found like a bundle of cash that was dug up in the basement somewhere, I have thought about that from time to time. Maybe I've watched a little bit too much Sopranos. I don't know.
I love this. Okay, this reminds me though, but Brian, this has to happen the next time I come to Vegas.
Okay.
Please take me to the Mob Museum.
Sure. I would love to do that.
I've never been. I would love to learn about that. And I always forget that's how Vegas started. But now eventually you have to buy a house there so we can try to find you some mob money.
Oh, okay. Well, I would love to take you to the Mob Museum. I think that'd be great. I actually know the people that run the museum, believe it or not, and they are not mobsters. They're very nice people. Not to say that some mobsters aren't nice people. I love the movie Casino, and Robert De Niro played a great Lefty Rosenthal. All right, what else do you got going for us?
Okay, well, I'm taking a sideways conversation because we actually have a chance to talk, Brian. So I actually have a question for you.
Okay.
I'm basically interviewing you now.
Oh no, here we go.
If you were not a radio host
Mm-hmm.
and you could pick a completely different career, what would you be or what would you do?
Well, my first would be a male gigolo, but we'll leave that one off to the side.
Let's go. Let's make your dreams come true.
That's a really good question. You know, I love sports. I love basketball. For parts of my life, I wanted to be a play-by-play commentator. Working maybe for an NBA team or something would probably be pretty cool. Being a coach, something sports related, would probably be a career path that I would probably want to go to. So that would be my number one, I think.
I love that. Okay, because I know you're big into politics and big into sports. If look at me, I'm just interviewing you for fun.
That's okay.
If
You can interview
were
me.
forced to choose one or the other to focus on for the rest of your career, you could only pick sports or you can only pick politics. What would you choose?
I thought you were saying, like, if I could only focus on one thing for the rest of my life, and I'll just take a screenshot of this picture right here of you. But other than that, yeah, other than that, let me think here. It's a really tough question for me to answer. I think I probably enjoy doing radio a little bit more just because when you're a play-by-play commentator, you have to only, for the most part, talk about that team in the game. And I feel like what I do on the radio, at least in my opinion, is far more important because, first of all, I could talk about anything I want to. If I wanted to do an hour to talk about my Boston Celtics today, I could do that. I just choose not to. And listen, you know, yesterday, you know, I had the opportunity to speak to one of my favorite actors growing up, Jeremy London, who I've become friends with. I had an opportunity to speak to the lead singer, Max Collins of Eve 6, one of my favorite bands growing up. I'm going to see his show tomorrow. So I get to do other things too. And that's why I would say, while I predominantly talk about politics on this show, and that's not going to change anytime soon, I would still say radio because I have the freedom to talk about pretty much whatever I want to talk about.
I love that. Okay, so I have another question for you.
Sure.
Because you've had massive, massive growth in the less than 2 years I've known you. Massive growth in your social media, massive growth in your influence, massive growth in your impact.
You're talking about my listenership. I thought you were talking about something else. I'm sorry, that was a terrible joke. Listen, guys, it's a Friday afternoon. Okay, I've had a long week. Give me a break. All right, I'm going to make morning. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You had
I'm sorry.
massive growth.
Massive growth. Go ahead. Yes. Massive.
I set you up for that.
Massive growth, according to Stormy Daniels. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So you've had this massive growth, and it looked like overnight success, but you've been at this for a really long time.
Yes.
What would you say to someone, they're in their 20s, they have an idea, they have a passion, there's something that they believe in. What would be your advice from everything you've learned over the years, the decades, from where you were to where you are now? What is some piece of wisdom or advice you'd give someone?
The reason why, and it's a cliche, the reason why I would say work hard is because I never really knew what really hard work was in radio until I ran my own show. I mean, I kind of ran my own show 6-7 years ago, but this is legitimately my own business and my own show. So I would say you have to work hard. It's nobody's going to give you anything unless you wear 8 layers of orange makeup. Nobody's going to give you anything. You have to earn it and you have to work for it. And I think you know that as well. So if you have an idea, if it doesn't work out right away and in 3 months or 6 months in a year, you're not making the money you hope to be making, do not give up and keep working hard. Doesn't mean you can't take a few steps back and think about, okay, well, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to do better? But if you truly have a talent and you believe in yourself and other people believe in you too, that's very important. You have to have a team of people that believe in you as well. Then just keep working hard and you will get what you want, but it's going to take a lot of work to get there. That's my opinion.
Ooh, I love that because I do think, at least in my personal development space, there's a lot of talk about like ease and flow, which I believe in, but I don't think people talk enough about like how much you have to work and stick with something, because you've stuck with your dream when things look like they weren't working. You stuck with your dream when like the numbers weren't at the level that you wanted. And like here you are reaping this massive reward, but also because you didn't quit or give up.
I can't stick to all of my dreams because I do not believe Jessica Alba wants to go out with me on a date and then flirt and cuddle. So I can't speak to all of my dreams, but But yeah, I mean, when I was, we only have a minute or two to go here, but yeah, when I was 18, 19 years old, I knew I wanted to do radio. Maybe 19, 20. I knew I wanted to do radio. Didn't know what kind of radio. And you know what? I might not be talking politics, 5 years from now or 3 years from now, but right now this is what I do and I enjoy doing it. And that's what I'm doing. And I look forward to continuing this conversation with you in person, because I think I will be hanging out with you on a beach in a few weeks when I need to take a vacation. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I have a lot to fill you in on that I cannot talk about on the air, but I will talk about it with you off the air.
I love getting the inside scoop of Brian's
Yes.
life. It'll be so fun.
I think we need to do Nicole Mitchell, the official life coach of Brian Shapiro. I think we're going to start that. So
We should. I'm so down.
We will give that a go.
Okay.
You look great, Nicole, as always.
Brian.
Keep up the great work. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank
and
you.
I will see you soon, and we will definitely catch up with you next week, okay?
Sounds good. Bye, Brian.
Yep. Thanks, Nicole. Take care. I love it. Nicole Mitchell, everybody. She's great. She's a life coach actually as well. And I was texting her yesterday because I was kind of having a rough day yesterday for a lot of different reasons. And she's great. So I'm actually going to be I'm going to be Nicole Mitchell's official life coach. But I told her, I said, we got to do it in person, not on the phone. So I'll give people updates on that because we will be doing that in a few weeks. Anyway, I love you guys. I really do. It is interesting that while I might be helping some of you, you're also helping me, because I get to, as Nicole said, do what I love to do every single day, which is great. Thank you to everybody on the YouTube super chat too. You guys are so great. And I appreciate you guys so much for being a part of what I do. Check out my website, pushingthelimits.live. Again, that website is pushingthelimits.live, where you can buy merchandise on there, and you could also make donations. I appreciate everybody in the YouTube super chat. Also, the best thing you can do is keep being involved in my YouTube page. I think we're approaching, we're probably going to get to 110,000 subscribers by the end of the weekend. We appreciate you guys. So we will be back. And I see people on social media saying, love you, Brian. I love you guys back. You guys will always have a platform on this show. I will always give people a platform on this show, no matter who you are, especially those that feel like their voices have not been heard. I will always hear your voices on this show. So please stay safe out there. I love all you guys. And we will see you on Monday. I hope everybody has a safe weekend. Everybody take care.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn?